My wife makes me put on foundation, blush, and lipstick before leaving the house, saying at least this way you'll look human. Yesterday my neighbor asked if I was sick. He thought I was transgender. Hey Reddit. I'm 35M and I need to get this off my chest because I'm honestly losing my mind. This is probably going to sound crazy, but my wife of 8 years has been forcing me to wear makeup every single day for the past 2 years and I don't know what to do anymore. It started small. Sarah would make little comments about my appearance, how my skin looked tired, how my lips were too pale, how I looked washed out in certain lighting. At first, I thought she was just being helpful, you know? Like when your partner suggests a new haircut or tells you a shirt looks good on you. But then it escalated. She bought this whole makeup kit and said she wanted to enhance my natural features. I laughed it off initially, thinking it was some kind of joke or maybe she wanted to practice her makeup skills on me. I work with my hands all day, fixing things, getting dirty. The idea of wearing makeup seemed ridiculous. The first time she actually applied makeup on me, I felt weird about it, but she seemed so excited and kept saying how much better I looked. She spent like an hour on my face, applying foundation, concealer, some kind of powder, blush, and this subtle lip color. When she showed me the mirror, I barely recognized myself. I looked different. Not necessarily bad, but not like me. See, she said, beaming. Now you look presentable. Now you look like someone people would want to talk to. That comment stung, but I didn't say anything. I figured it was a one-time thing. I was wrong. The next morning, when I was getting ready for work, Sarah blocked the door and said I wasn't leaving until she fixed my face. I told her I was running late and didn't have time for this, but she got really upset. She started crying and saying that she was embarrassed to be seen with me when I looked so rough and unkempt. She said people would judge her for having a husband who didn't take care of himself. I gave in because I hate seeing her cry, and honestly, I didn't think it was worth the fight. So she did the whole routine again: foundation, powder, blush, lip color. It took 45 minutes. I was late for work and had to come up with some excuse for my boss. That was 2 years ago and it's gotten progressively worse. Now, I can't leave the house without a full face of makeup. Sarah has turned it into this daily ritual that takes at least an hour every morning. She's bought more and more products, different shades of foundation for different seasons, various blushes, lip colors, even eye makeup that she says brings out my eyes better. The worst part is how she talks to me during this process. She'll make these comments like, your skin is so blotchy without this, or God, your lips are practically invisible, or you look so much more approachable with some color in your cheeks. Every single day, she finds new things wrong with my natural face. I tried to push back several times. I'd wake up early and try to leave for work before she got up, but she always caught me. A few times I made it out the door, but she'd call me constantly until I came back home to get ready properly. Once, I wiped off all the makeup in my truck after leaving the house and somehow she found out. I think she saw me at lunch when she was driving by my workplace. When I got home that night, she lost it completely. She screamed at me for humiliating her and said that people would think she didn't care about her husband if I went around looking like a slob. The thing is, I never thought I looked like a slob before. I mean, I shower every day, I keep my hair neat, I wear clean clothes. I'm not a male model or anything, but I'm just a regular guy who works hard and takes care of his family. But Sarah has convinced me that my natural face is somehow offensive to other people. She's also started policing what I do throughout the day to make sure the makeup stays put. I can't rub my face when I'm tired. I have to be careful when I eat so I don't mess up the lip color. If I'm working outside and start sweating, I have to constantly check myself in mirrors to make sure everything still looks acceptable. She's bought me this little compact mirror that I'm supposed to carry around for touch-ups. The social situations have become nightmarish. Last month, we went to a barbecue at her sister's house and I was so self-conscious about the makeup that I could barely enjoy myself. I kept wondering if people were staring at me, if they could tell I was wearing foundation and blush. Her brother-in-law made some comment about how polished I looked and I didn't know how to respond. But yesterday was the breaking point. I was outside fixing our neighbor Dave's lawnmower, just being neighborly, you know? And Dave looked at me really closely and asked if I was feeling all right. He said I looked different and wondered if I was going through some kind of medical treatment. Then he quietly asked if I was transitioning because he'd noticed I'd been looking more feminine lately and he wanted to make sure he was being respectful. I was mortified. This is a guy I've known for 5 years. We've shared beers, helped each other with yard work, talked about sports. And now he thinks I'm transitioning because my wife has me wearing so much makeup that I don't even look like myself anymore. I tried to explain without getting into the whole mess, just said I'd been trying some new skincare stuff, but I could tell he didn't really buy it. The conversation was awkward as hell and I felt like I wanted to disappear into the ground. When I told Sarah about this later, instead of being concerned or understanding, she got angry at me. She said I must be overdoing it with the touch-ups and that I need to be more subtle with the application. She completely missed the point that maybe, just maybe, making your husband wear makeup every single day isn't normal. I've tried talking to her about this so many times. I've explained that it makes me uncomfortable, that it doesn't feel like me, that I'm worried about what people think. But she always turns it around on me. She says I'm being vain and insecure and that I should be grateful she cares enough about my appearance to help me improve it. She says most wives wouldn't bother trying to make their husbands look better. Sometimes she cries and says she's only trying to help me succeed in life because presentation matters and people judge you based on how you look. She'll bring up examples of male actors or TV personalities who wear makeup, saying it's normal and I'm being old-fashioned. But those guys are on camera, I'm just trying to live my regular life. I've started having dreams about my face without makeup. Weird, right? Like, I dream about just walking around with my natural skin, and in the dream it feels like freedom. I wake up and the first thing I think about is having to sit in that chair again while Sarah applies layer after layer of products to my face, telling me how much better I look with each edition. The worst part is that I'm starting to believe her. When I catch glimpses of myself in mirrors throughout the day, my made-up face is starting to look more normal to me than my natural one. On the rare occasions when I see myself without makeup, like when I'm washing my face at night, I look strange to myself. Pale, tired, somehow incomplete. I feel like I'm losing who I am. This might sound dramatic, but I feel like she's erasing my actual face and replacing it with this version she thinks is better. And maybe it is better, maybe I do look more presentable with makeup on, but it's not me. It's this person she's created and I'm trapped inside it. I don't know what to do. I love Sarah and I don't want to hurt her, but I'm starting to dread every morning. I'm starting to avoid social situations because I'm so self-conscious. I'm starting to wonder if there's something fundamentally wrong with my appearance that I never noticed before. Has anyone else ever been in a situation like this? How do you deal with a partner who's trying to change something fundamental about you? Am I overreacting? Is this actually normal and I'm just being stubborn? I just want to feel like myself again. Update 1. Holy shit, Reddit. I wasn't expecting this kind of response. Thank you to everyone who commented and shared their own experiences. Reading through everything has been eye-opening and honestly pretty emotional. A lot of you asked for an update, so here it is. Things have gotten both better and worse since my original post. First, the worst part. After I posted, I started paying more attention to other things Sarah does that I hadn't really connected before. You guys were right, the makeup thing isn't happening in isolation. She's been controlling other aspects of my appearance too, and I just didn't see it as part of the same pattern. She picks out my clothes every morning. She's been doing this for so long that I stopped even thinking about it, but when I really thought about it, I realized I haven't chosen my own outfit in probably 3 years. She lays everything out the night before: underwear, socks, pants, shirt, even which belt to wear. If I try to wear something different, she gets upset and says I don't know how to put together an outfit that works with my coloring and the makeup she's going to apply. She also controls my hair. Every 2 weeks, she makes an appointment at our salon, really her salon, and tells the stylist exactly how to cut my hair. I used to just get a regular cut at the barbershop near work, but she said that was unprofessional and that I needed someone who understood modern men's styling. The salon is expensive as hell and the cuts are way more styled than what I'm comfortable with, but whenever I suggest going back to my old barbershop, she says I'm being cheap and that I'll ruin all the progress we've made on my appearance. Reading your comments made me realize that this isn't about helping me look better. This is about control. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So last week, I decided to try something. I got up early and left for work without the makeup routine. I was nervous as hell, but I did it. I felt like I was sneaking out of my own house, which is pretty fucked up when you think about it. It felt amazing. I mean, I was anxious about how people would react to seeing my natural face, but mostly it felt like I could breathe again. My skin felt normal. I could rub my eyes when they were tired. I could eat lunch without worrying about messing up lip color. For the first time in 2 years, I felt like myself. But then I had to go home. Sarah was waiting by the door when I got back. She'd been crying and she immediately started yelling about how embarrassed and betrayed she felt. She said neighbors had seen me leaving the house looking like that and what would they think of her. She said I was being selfish and cruel and that she'd spent years trying to help me and this was how I repaid her. Then she said something that really stuck with me. She said I can't be married to someone who doesn't care about themselves. If you're going to give up on your appearance, you're giving up on us. That threat scared me more than I want to admit. I love Sarah. We've built a life together. The idea of losing her over makeup seemed insane, but also, I gave in. I let her do the full routine right there in the hallway, standing up while she cried and applied foundation to my face. But something had changed. Even as I stood there letting her fix my face, I was angry. Really angry. Not just at her, but at myself for giving in. A few of you mentioned talking to friends or family, but here's the thing, I don't really have anyone to talk to about this. Most of my close friends are also Sarah's friends now, and the few guys I know from work. How do you bring this up? Hey, my wife makes me wear makeup every day and I'm losing my mind. It sounds crazy even typing it. But then something unexpected happened. Remember Dave, my neighbor who asked if I was transitioning? He came over last weekend to return a tool he'd borrowed and he pulled me aside. Hey man, he said, I hope I didn't offend you last week with what I said. I was just concerned because you seemed. I don't know, not like yourself lately. I don't know what came over me, but I just started talking. I told him everything. The makeup, the clothes, the hair, the daily routine, the threats, all of it. I expected him to think I was crazy or weak or something, but instead he just listened. When I finished, he was quiet for a minute. Then he said, dude, that's not normal. That's not what wives do. My ex-wife was controlling about a lot of things, but she never tried to change my actual face. It was the first time in 2 years that someone had validated what I was feeling. That this wasn't normal. That I wasn't being dramatic or ungrateful. Dave asked if I wanted to grab a beer sometime and talk more, away from the house. I said yes, but then I started worrying about what I'd tell Sarah about where I was going, which made me realize how fucked up my thinking had become. I was worried about getting permission to have a beer with my neighbor. I haven't taken Dave up on the beer yet, but knowing that someone sees what's happening and thinks it's wrong has given me some strength. The other thing that's helped is reading about other people's experiences in the comments. Especially the people who talked about how control can escalate gradually so you don't notice it happening until you're in deep. That's exactly what happened to me. The makeup seemed like such a small thing at first, and then it became this huge part of my daily life. I'm not ready to do anything drastic yet. I'm not ready to give Sarah an ultimatum or leave or anything like that. But I am ready to start setting some boundaries. I'm going to try to have a real conversation with her about how this is affecting me without letting her turn it around on me or make me feel guilty for bringing it up. I'm also going to take Dave up on that beer. I need to remember what it feels like to have a normal conversation with someone who sees me as me, not as a project to be improved. Thank you again for all the support and advice. It's helped me realize I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. I'll update again soon. Update 2. It's been a month since my last update and a lot has happened. Some of you have been messaging me asking for news, so here's where things stand. I had that beer with Dave and it was exactly what I needed. We went to this dive bar about 20 minutes from our neighborhood, and for the first time in years I had a normal conversation about normal things, work, sports, his new girlfriend, my truck that's been making weird noises. Nobody talked about my appearance or how I could improve it or what I should be wearing. It was just two guys having beers and shooting the shit. But more importantly, Dave told me about his ex-wife and how controlling she'd been. Not about makeup, his situation was different, but about money and friends and how he spent his time. He said the hardest part wasn't even the control itself, but how she made him feel guilty for wanting basic autonomy. Like wanting to make his own decisions made him selfish and ungrateful. That hit home hard because that's exactly how Sarah makes me feel. Like wanting to choose my own clothes or not wear makeup makes me vain and difficult. Dave also said something that really stuck with me. The person who loves you shouldn't want to change your face, man. They should love your actual face. When I got home that night, Sarah immediately started interrogating me about where I'd been and why I smelled like beer. I told her I'd grabbed a drink with Dave, and she got upset because I hadn't told her beforehand. She said it was inconsiderate and that she'd been worried. But then she looked at my face really closely and got even more upset because my makeup had apparently faded throughout the day and I looked tired and washed out. She insisted on doing a full face of makeup right then at 9 p.m. so I'd look better. That's when it really hit me how insane this had become. I was sitting in my kitchen at 9 o'clock at night having foundation applied to my face because my wife couldn't stand to look at my natural skin. So I decided to try the direct approach. I sat her down the next morning and told her I wanted to stop wearing makeup. I tried to be calm and reasonable about it. I explained that it made me uncomfortable, that it didn't feel like me, and that I wanted to try going without it for a while. Her reaction was intense. She started crying immediately and said I was giving up on myself and giving up on us. She said she'd worked so hard to help me look my best and now I was just going to throw it all away. She said people at her work had commented on how good I looked lately and now I was going to embarrass her. But then she said something that really pissed me off. She said, "Fine, if you want to look like a homeless person, that's your choice. But don't expect me to be seen in public with you." That threat didn't scare me this time. It made me angry. Really fucking angry. I told her that threatening to not be seen with me unless I wore makeup was manipulative and cruel. I told her that making me feel bad about my natural face for 2 years was not loving or supportive. I told her that I was done with the daily makeup routine, period. She didn't take it well. She spent the rest of the week barely speaking to me except to make comments about how tired and rough I looked. She made a big show of not wanting to go grocery shopping together or run errands together because she said she was embarrassed to be seen with me looking like that. But you know what? I stuck to it. I went to work every day with my natural face. I ran errands. I talked to neighbors. I went to the hardware store and the gas station and the bank. And guess what happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nobody stared at me. Nobody commented on my appearance. Nobody treated me differently. I looked like a normal guy going about his day, which is what I am. All of Sarah's fears about people judging me for my natural appearance were completely unfounded. Actually, that's not entirely true. A couple of people at work said I looked more relaxed or more like myself. One guy said I seemed less stressed lately. So if anything, people responded positively to me not wearing makeup. The breakthrough came about 2 weeks ago. Sarah and I were having another fight about the makeup thing and I was trying to explain why it bothered me so much. She kept interrupting me and saying I was being dramatic and that lots of men wear makeup now. Finally, I said, "Sarah, would you be okay if I told you that you had to change your face every day before leaving the house? If I told you that your natural appearance wasn't good enough and I was embarrassed to be seen with you unless you looked different?" She said that was different because women are expected to wear makeup and men aren't. So I asked her why, if men aren't expected to wear makeup, she was expecting me to wear it. She didn't have a good answer for that. Then I asked her the question that I think really got to her. Do you actually love me, or do you love this version of me that you've created? She got really quiet and started crying. Not the manipulative crying she'd been doing, but genuine, sad crying. She said she didn't know why she'd gotten so obsessed with changing my appearance. She said she thought she was helping, but now she was realizing that maybe she was trying to turn me into someone I'm not. We talked for hours that night. Really talked, not just her lecturing me about my appearance. She admitted that she'd been controlling about other things too, my clothes, my hair, even some of my friendships. She said she didn't know when it had started or why, but she could see now that it wasn't healthy. She apologized. A real apology, not one of those "I'm sorry you feel that way" non-apologies. She said she was sorry for making me feel bad about my natural appearance and for threatening our relationship over something so superficial. The thing is, I could tell she meant it. And for the first time in months, I felt like I was talking to the woman I fell in love with, not this person who'd been trying to reshape me into her ideal version of a man. But here's the complicated part. Even though she apologized and said she understood why I was upset, she's still struggling with seeing me without makeup. She doesn't make comments about it anymore, and she doesn't try to force me to wear it, but I can tell it bothers her. Sometimes I catch her looking at my face with this disappointed expression, like she's mourning the loss of the made-up version of me. We're working on it though. We're actually talking to someone, not exactly couples counseling, but this woman Sarah found who specializes in relationship communication. She's helping us figure out why Sarah felt the need to control my appearance and how we can rebuild trust. Sarah has also started looking at her own relationship with appearance and control. She realized that she's been pretty critical of her own looks too, and that maybe some of her obsession with fixing my face came from her own insecurities about not being perfect. I'm not going to lie and say everything is perfect now. We still have bad days. Sometimes Sarah will make a comment about how I could use some concealer under my eyes or how a little lip balm would make me look more polished. And sometimes I get angry about the 2 years I spent feeling bad about my own face. But we're making progress. I go out every day with my natural face and I feel like myself again. I choose my own clothes, though Sarah still offers input, which is fine, that's what partners do. I even went back to my old barbershop and it felt great to just ask for a regular cut without having to explain what would work with my coloring and bone structure. Dave and I have become better friends through all this. We have beers regularly now, and sometimes we talk about serious stuff, sometimes we just complain about work or our team's losing. Having a friendship that's not filtered through Sarah's approval has been really important for me. The biggest change is that I trust my own judgment again. For 2 years, I'd gotten used to Sarah being the authority on how I should look and present myself. Now I'm remembering that I actually have pretty good instincts about what feels right for me. I still love Sarah and I think we're going to be okay. But I also know now that I can't let anyone, even someone I love, make me feel bad about my basic existence. Your face is your face. Your body is your body. The person who loves you should love those things as they are, not as projects to be improved. To anyone reading this who might be in a similar situation, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is wrong, even if the person doing it says they love you and are just trying to help. You don't need to be fixed or improved or made more presentable. You just need to be you. Final update. Hey Reddit, it's been 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to close out this story with where things ended up. Sarah and I are doing well. Really well, actually. We kept working with the communication specialist, and it helped us understand what had happened and why. Turns out Sarah had been dealing with a lot of anxiety about social acceptance and had projected that onto me. She thought that if I looked perfect according to her standards, it would somehow reflect well on her and make her feel more secure socially. She's been working on her own issues with control and perfectionism. She started seeing someone individually too, which has helped her understand why she felt the need to manage my appearance so intensely. We found out that her mom had been really critical of her dad's appearance when Sarah was growing up, always telling him he needed to dress better or fix his hair or lose weight. Sarah had internalized this idea that managing your partner's appearance was a normal part of loving them. The makeup is completely gone from my routine now. I haven't worn any in 4 months and Sarah doesn't even suggest it anymore. She says she actually prefers how I look naturally now. It took some time for her eyes to readjust, but she realized she'd gotten so used to the makeup version of me that she'd forgotten what I actually looked like. We've established some good boundaries around appearance and decision-making. Sarah can offer input on clothes or haircuts if I ask for it, but the final decision is always mine. And I do ask for her input sometimes because that's normal in a relationship. I just had to learn the difference between input and control. The biggest change is in how we communicate. When one of us has an issue now, we've learned to talk about it directly instead of trying to manage or change the other person. Sarah admitted that instead of telling me she was feeling insecure about social situations, she tried to fix me to make herself feel better. Now when she's feeling anxious about something social, she just tells me and we figure out together how to handle it. I've maintained my friendship with Dave, and through him I've made a few other friends in the neighborhood. Having a social circle that's not entirely connected to Sarah has been really healthy for both of us. She's done the same thing. She's gotten closer with some women from work and started doing activities that are just hers. The person we worked with told us that what happened to us isn't that uncommon. She said a lot of couples get into patterns where one person tries to manage or improve the other, usually coming from a place of love but ending up feeling controlling and hurtful. The key is recognizing it and choosing to change the pattern instead of defending it. I look back at those 2 years now and it feels almost surreal. I can't believe I spent that long feeling bad about my own face or that I let someone convince me that my natural appearance was somehow offensive. But I also understand how it happened. It was gradual and it came from someone I loved and trusted. For anyone dealing with something similar, here's what I learned. You don't have to justify wanting to look like yourself. You don't have to earn the right to exist in your natural state. If someone loves you, they should love your actual face, your actual body, your actual self, not some improved version they've created in their head. Also, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, don't let anyone convince you it's normal just because they love you. Love doesn't justify control, and helping doesn't require changing fundamental things about who you are. Sarah and I are planning to renew our vows next year. Not because we have to, but because we want to. We feel like we're starting fresh with a better understanding of how to love each other without trying to change each other. This time around, I'll be wearing my own face, my own clothes, and my own smile. Thanks to everyone who supported me through this. Reddit can be a weird place sometimes, but when I needed to hear that I wasn't crazy, you all came through. It meant more than you know. Peace. A guy who finally looks like himself again.